aboard!
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to Cannabis Karaoke, where we ask you to grab the mic and tell your story. Get inside info from today's most interesting cannabis pioneers, and from the first note to the end of the song, listen up as you get to hear the stories of success on Cannabis Karaoke. Well, all right. We are here with another guest on Cannabis Karaoke. It's amazing. I don't quite understand it, but people keep wanting to be on the show, so I'm pretty stoked. Let's welcome Shonye Perl, a.k.a. David Franco, to the show. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, Danny?
It's not fair for all the back jokes that we have between each other. People are like, what the fuck did he just say, Dave Franco? This ain't Dave Franco. What the hell's going on here? There's a story, people.
I know.
Maybe we'll get to it. Maybe we won't. But for the meantime, just to get people acquainted with who you are, why don't you tell them a little bit? Obviously this podcast is about why cannabis, how it influences your life, what you're doing in it. So just go ahead and start out with from when you were 6 and had that big wheel we talked about, and that hill that you were challenged by. No, just tell us what you do in the space, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Yeah, no, totally, man. So, in the space right now, in the cannabis industry, I do a lot of video production stuff, helping brands, as well as cannabis expos and conferences, dispensaries, pretty much anybody in the space, really helping them to create video content. And that's kind of how you and I first linked up. I'm part of a film crew over here. And it's been going awesome, you know what I mean? And to go backwards from there, when I was younger, I grew up in Sonoma County, up in Petaluma, and I'll just be completely honest. There's a lot of hippies that smoke weed out there, and some of those hippies that smoke weed were my parents. You know what I mean? And
dude, hold up. You are not the byproduct of hippies. There's no way.
Yeah, no, but check this out.
I didn't know that. Carry on. Sorry.
Coast. Yeah.
Go forward.
No, all good. So my parents are big hippies, dude. They're huge Grateful Dead fans. And so growing up, I had that heavy influence of music, Grateful Dead, and these kind of hippie bands, and they still go to fucking Grateful Dead concerts. That's how crazy they are.
Did they go to that one that was up in what was that at recently? There's a band called the Grateful Dead. What is it?
It's Dead and Company.
Dead and Company.
I think it's the new one. Dead and Co. Yeah, and they got some other ones too, some smaller ones, but they go to the bigger ones. They kind of, I don't want to say they introduced me to cannabis, but I think because of them, it just came up earlier. You know what I mean? But I mean, my friends too, I think it was probably all my friends really that got me into it, because they came around, they found weed, and they had older brothers and sisters. Oh shit, the craziest thing that happened, bro, I was in 6th grade and my buddy found out that one of his neighbors was growing in the garage, or growing in the backyard and drying in the garage. So we went and robbed his
fool. Yeah, you boosted his grade. Yeah, you dirty person.
Dude, it was so bad, and we were so dumb. It was the dumbest thing I've probably ever done. We went to behind Kmart and divvied it all up and tried to figure out how to dry it out, and just ruined all of it. Ruined 5 plants, good sized plants. Now that I remember, it was really bad.
Disappointing to find out.
I was in 6th grade.
So, just to kind of dial it back, we did connect on storytelling. It's the reason, that's what kind of jumped me into the space, was wanting to be a platform for storytelling. And we've been fortunate enough to work with each other a few different times. And, I think the biggest takeaway I have from watching you work is just your work ethic. So a lot of people would say that cannabis users are stoners and unmotivated. Dude, you're one of the hardest working dudes I know that runs cameras, and I've watched you work for me, next to me, and I've just watched you. And so it's always interesting to tell people, yeah, man, that guy smokes a lot of weed, and it doesn't impact him. What, when you were younger, you said, you found that garage full of weed, but then as you kept using cannabis throughout life, because I really believe there are two types of people in the world. There's cannabis users, and then there's non-cannabis users. And I feel like we see life a little bit different. Maybe it's because we're off to the side smoking a joint while it's passing us by. But how did cannabis influence your life coming up? How did it impact your decisions that you made necessarily to like have a career? Like tell us a little bit about that.
So wait, as far as like how did cannabis influence kind of my
back
journey
in the day you couldn't
and, like,
get
how
it.
I got here?
Yeah, and I think also like back in the day you couldn't really be out with your cannabis use like we are now. And how did that impact your? I know for me, I could only work for myself because I don't want anybody to tell me when I could or couldn't smoke weed. But like, I think I just curious to know how that impacted you. Do you have to suck it up sometimes? You have to go cannabis dry for a while? Like, were you able just to be you? You know?
Yeah. No. Dude, honestly, yeah. If I would have been able to do kind of what I do now before, I'd have been a much probably better person to be around. But yeah, no, I definitely had to sacrifice, man. Definitely, like all those years in the corporate life, up until probably my last year. I couldn't smoke, and I couldn't really be out there like that. You know what I mean? Like I would go, like, how you and I go to these cannabis conferences and we schmooze and we cruise and we smoke and like it's all good. Like when I was coming up as a sales guy, in like the advertising industry, I couldn't go to no advertising expo all lit up. Like I couldn't walk into work all high. Like those fools would have like just like kicked me out. I had to wait until like the end of the day. Like that was like kind of like my like, gift at the end of the day, if you will. You know what I mean? But I definitely feel much more comfortable with where I am now and how I smoke and it's just kind of part of my daily thing. You know what I mean? And
were people surprised when you revealed your dirty habit?
I mean, I don't think I have made an official announcement to the general public. But I mean, like my parents know I smoke. That kind of took a little while for my father and I to get to an understanding. And unfortunately, like my girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, she didn't like me smoking, so that didn't really work out too well. But I think the toughest thing for me was actually like accepting, like, dude, I like smoking. I like medicating. I like using cannabis to, be a part of my daily thing to help with, whatever is going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's another good like question that just popped up, which is, I know personally, throughout the years, significant others don't always like, they're cool with it at first, like, oh, that's okay, don't worry about it. And then down the road, they're like, I really don't like the fact that you're smoking marijuana. And I'm like, well, then, that's too bad. How did you deal with that kind of stuff? I mean, if you're dealing with corporate, if you're bending to corporate, did you bend to relationships? Like, or were you like, I'm gonna do me, and that's just how it's gonna be?
It was a compromise. I think, I definitely did some bending, but also kind of like at certain points kind of held my ground. But back then, I think I was striving for different things in my life. You know what I mean? And I didn't really understand where cannabis fit, and I didn't really understand like what my whole plan was. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like going with the flow of things, and if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't, I guess.
No, I mean, I think it does take a little bit to understand. I mean, you keep those lives separate. I know I did. I mean, even though I was in the surf industry, and people knew, you smoked weed, but it wasn't something you led with. You didn't lead with it like you do now. Like, hey, you want to smoke a joint? Like to anybody now, like anybody, I'm all, yo, you want to smoke a joint? Then I don't smoke weed at all. Good, more for me later.
Yeah, no. I mean, coming like I remember so often, dude, so often, like a typical day when I was working at a corporate job, right? Typical days like waking up at like 6:30, getting ready, being at work by like 8 or whatever, 8:30. You know, grind through the day, and then somebody hits you with that like, oh, you want to go to happy hour, and like, oh, of course. Oh, well, fucking Jen is going to happy hour too. Well, fuck, I'm going to happy hour. And it was more like the corporate job is more associated with like the alcohol and you know what I'm saying.
I think that's changing though,
right?
don't you? I mean, I think
I don't
we're
know. I'm not.
no, bullshit. What you and I do together, absolutely. What you and I do together helps tell stories, helps normalize, helps remove stigma. You know, kind of creates. I mean, I know that we're having success when I have family members who were staunchly against cannabis or anything related to it. Not only just asking for asking for advice, but also like almost, you know, I had a guest in here, Johanna Nuding, and I think you know her, Casually Baked.
Johanna.
And she had a great
shout out.
And she had a great term. It was Cannabis Lifestyle Guide. And I feel like that's a whole nother spot that's going to happen because people are just fools. They just haven't been paying attention. And nowadays, you know, one wrong move and you're calling 911 because you're hyperventilating off of what you got from the dispensary. So I think, you know, people are definitely curious. I think people are definitely wanting some guidance. And I think the content that you manufacture and the broadcasting platform that we push it out on makes the relationship a little bit easier. I do think that we still got a long ways to go for people. I mean, it's you know, it's hilarious.
Well, it's just, you know, and the lack of education, I think when it comes to cannabis overall, you know what I mean? And you know, I take responsibility as well, being a content creator. I feel like I haven't been creating enough educational stuff because at the end of the day, like, I don't think your typical new cannabis, you know, person is like you and I. Like, we've been in this a long time. We know, we're educated. We've like bumped our head. We've you know, overdosed on edibles. We've, you know what I mean, done the freaking gravity bong stuff. Like, we know, but today your typical person that walks into a dispensary, I don't think is like that, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
And where do they get the education? Like, I don't know.
Well,
that's
and
a whole nother conversation.
That's the funny thing about the space because, and you know, look, I by no means is this podcast meant to throw shade on anybody. It's just opinion. And, you know, my opinions are that the cups, the events, you know, aside from music festivals that have obviously integrated cannabis use, you know, I think there's a divide between a certain subset of people and the industry. And it's a unique one because people, they just don't even know where to look, you know, and they're the type of people that are not going to Google cannabis. And maybe if they do, they do, but it's such a thread to pull that it gets confusing. So I do believe that, you know, there's different subsets of customers. You know, it's like surfing. You got the weed heads who are the hardcore surfers. Yeah,
good point.
And then you got the people that are like just here for the weekend that want to rent a surfboard. And those are the people that don't want to take a 50 milligram edible and end up on the floor of their hotel. So, you know, or a dab. Like, I see like
the worst.
I mean, I think I've been with you when people are like, I think I might take a dab, and we're all, have you ever dabbed before? Like, be careful.
Yeah. You know? Well, they make it sound, like, man, I don't know. We're kind of going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, let me switch it up a little bit. So on your professional career, tell me about some of the exciting things that you're working on, and that you have worked on, and you know, just it's funny. A year in this industry is like 5 in any other one. So go ahead and give us a little feedback on some of the things that you've touched.
Well, no, honestly, man, I kind of want to talk a little bit about your thing, about CCTV.
No. This is a podcast about you. We can talk about me later if you like.
No, I mean, I just want to, wait, ask a question one more time. Sorry.
Did you just take a hit or something?
I was smoking a joint earlier. Yeah.
Okay. So what I said was, talk to us about some of your projects. What has Sean worked on?
There you go.
And you can include the one that we worked on together, but Tell us a little bit
Yeah,
about your
yeah,
creative side and how cannabis influences that, because you did a thing, I think, at an event, Hippie Hill possibly, where you guys
yeah,
went
yeah,
out and
yeah.
did some Q&A. So you're a creative guy. I want people I want
Ah,
people to key into that, and I want you to kind of share a little bit about your projects that you've worked on, maybe, and how certain things triggered by cannabis may or may not have helped it.
gotcha. Absolutely. Okay, perfect. No, thank you. Sorry, I am stoned and high, and
Listen, you're not
shout
giving us
out
a
La
good look, bro.
Paz.
You're not giving us a good look right
Hey, man, you know me, Danny. I don't even care, man. People probably like me or whatever.
now.
But no, some of the stuff that I have worked on, man, that I'm super stoked about. I did a 420 quiz with my boy, Mr. Purple Gloves. And shout out like Sticker Farmers, shout out Purple Gloves. But yeah, we did. We went out to Hippie Hill. We had like 10 questions that we went and interviewed, random people who were attending, and it turned out pretty funny. I also have been working with Stinje. Stinje's like Burner's homie. They're really close homies, and we did a like an investigative report. Stinje came across an article on Vice.com, and the headline of the article said, "Hold up, does smoking weed make you gay?" And so we had to kind of test this theory because it's pretty questionable. I mean, just that statement in question itself, I mean, it's pretty stretch. You know what I mean? So
Well, we know conservatives will, not even conservatives, just
exactly.
people that are afraid. I don't want to label anybody.
Yeah.
People that are afraid are going to say weird stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it turned out to be one of those kind of clickbait things. They wanted to get people to click on the article, and there's really no correlation between smoking cannabis and, being homosexual. So, but it's a fun piece. If you guys like to laugh, go on Stingy's YouTube or his Instagram. And he's got a bunch of stuff there. We're actually working on another piece right now, and I don't want to give too much away, but it may be, the first ever marijuana rehab. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. It'll be funny though.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody, say
Yeah.
that you're going to need
Yeah.
rehab from weed. I mean, I think if it's a gateway for you, because then I'm going to get heat. Oh, it's a gateway. I understand.
Yeah.
It's a gateway. For some
Yeah.
people, breathing is a gateway. And so
Yeah, exactly.
some people can't smoke weed, can't drink beer, can't do drugs, can't do any of it. Like some people,
Yeah.
you're like, how do they manage? I don't understand. But you're right. You know what I mean? It's like there is going to be instances where people feel like marijuana or cannabis is not good for them, and statistically I hope that happens, because that means that it's not this magical miracle thing that everybody, it's like pretty much a
Yeah.
miracle plant, and its cousin, the
Yeah.
hemp plant, is a not too distant, far away miracle plant. And so
Yeah.
we're hopefully we're moving into a new era of society with cannabis. So in addition to working with Stingy and Purple Gloves on Hippie Hill, asking questions,
Yeah.
man on the street, what are some of the other things that you've done? Like, give people a range of what Sean would do on a set. Like, and you don't have to get into details, but like different projects. Like, what was one project that really stood out that you had a lot of fun working on that was associated to cannabis? And please don't say ours, because then it looks like I contrived
No.
it. But
No.
So
Well, that's
speak to
actually
that.
the last one that I was going to mention. I actually just co-producing a new series called Ganjier Smoke Break. And really, I mean, I'm co-producing, I'm directing, I'm shooting, and I'm helping the host Daniel Montero. And what he's doing is we're attending a lot of these cannabis events, cannabis expos, as well as some smaller private events. And what we do is interview a lot of big folks here in the industry. I think at our last event, we interviewed the new head of the Office of Cannabis in San Francisco. I forgot the lady's name, but she was awesome. So yeah, really, I mean, I'm a big producer in the game. I film, I direct. We write as well. I'm doing a lot of writing right now for some small shorts that we're trying to do. I'm trying to do it all like you, bro. You know what I mean? I saw you a few years back.
Stop it. So what? How does cannabis intertwine with you for that? Like when you're writing or producing, like Do you smoke before you produce, or do you wait till? Do you reward yourself? Like, what's your process when you're working on a project?
Yeah, I mean, lately, I'll either medicate while we're doing it, just because it's a part of the production, kind of. You know what I mean? Like with the Ganjier smoke break, he's actually smoking a joint with his host. I mean, with his guest. So like joints are being passed around. Some of the bigger things, since this is kind of a project of my own, and no one's really thrown a ton of money at me for it yet. But on some of these bigger client things, I'll definitely hold off until afterwards, more of like a celebration or like a good job,
Yeah, I mean, I
Kind
know.
of like how we do it.
Right. I mean, I think throughout the day you maintenance, and then for me, anyways, and then at the end of the day, sometimes I'll reward myself. Sometimes I'm actually good. By the end of the day, I don't feel like I need to reward myself. Let me ask you another question. What do you?
Yeah.
What's your delivery agent, man? Like, do you smoke a joint? Do you vape? What is it?
Yeah. No, my what would you call that? My smoking choice, my way of smoking choice would
Yeah,
be
I
rolling a
mainly
joint.
vape,
Yeah.
right? I'm occasionally smoke
Yeah.
some flower, not always in the opportunity to. But what do you do? What's your? I mean, obviously, if a
I
joint's
mean,
being passed around, joints are never
yeah.
turned down usually. Um,
Yeah.
but when it's just Sean, like when Sean's on his program, like what is Sean's? How does he do
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
How you smoking?
I'm
How
I'm
you
I'm
ingest your cannabis, bro? It's not a
I'm
hard.
I'm twisting up a joint, you know what I mean? Or if I'm at home, like about to like read or like just like put on like, some Netflix and like knock out, like I might smoke a bowl at home, but 9 out of 10 times I'm gonna be smoking a joint for sure. I love rolling joints.
What what? So I'm gonna ask the first question, then I have another question to back it up. But in your when you're smoking, like, what do you prefer? Do you choose by strain? Do you choose by
Oh
THC
yeah.
quantity? Do you choose by category? Like, what is what?
I mean,
How do you choose?
first off, yeah. First off, keep it sativa. I definitely am always leaning either for like a sativa or like a sativa hybrid. I am really sensitive to like those pure indicas or those heavy indicas, man.
What do they
Those
do? What do you
like,
do? What happens?
I mean, you talking about one of the hardest working guys out here. If we smoke some indica, Danny, oh, I'm done. I'm not good for
I
anything,
sometimes
dog.
I have strains that if I smoke that, especially
Yeah,
flower, I
yeah.
borderline have a mental episode about how I could have done everything that day different. You know what I
See
mean?
that, but that's like a sativa. That's like getting your brain going, and you're
Nah,
like those
dude, for me
neurons
it's
are
the
firing.
opposite. Indicas fry me. Like they do the same thing. I'm incapacitated, but like with
Uh-huh.
anxiety, whereas like sativa, I pretty much stick to sativas,
Yeah,
or at least
yeah,
a hybrid dominant sativa.
yeah.
What
Yeah, no, me too.
what do you think about this whole CBD thing that's happening? Like how's that, people think, "Oh my god, CBD."
Yeah.
It's a little confusing, I'll be honest with you. I mean, having been in the space, like I understand THC driven CBD. I'm not totally sure I understand all the different ranges of the people doing it. It's crazy. It's not regulated or it's been approved where THC hasn't. And I'm starting to see CBD stores pop up like rando. And I'm going to my grocery store and they're like, "Oh, would you like a CBD shot in your coffee?" And you're like, "What?" Like,
Yo,
And I'm
that's
like, "For how much? $5?" I'm all, "Dude, my coffee was $2.50." Like, I'm not putting a $5 shot of anything in my coffee unless it's tequila.
yeah, yeah. No, it's this CBD craze is pretty intense. Like, I'll tell you this much. I kind of got hyped up about it too. About like 4 months ago, I want to say. I really wanted to start, and you can take this if you want, or we could do it together. We can do it together. It'd be a great idea. But do a CBD vending machine
Oh,
and
dude,
just have snacks and drinks,
it's happening already.
bro. And I know it's happening, but if you
Right
get in
next to you in your
now,
backyard, Grasshopper is a company that's doing
but
AI.
grasshoppers, they're
Be
they're
careful.
doing everything though. They're
I
doing
know. No,
everything.
no, no, they're not.
But
They're doing. Yeah, you're right. They're doing THC too, but they're definitely. My point is that it doesn't even matter, bro. There could be 10 more of those people. The way CBD is taking off right now. Again, family relative just had surgery. Wants some, asked specifically for CBD based stuff. And, you know,
Yeah.
I felt like goes back to that cannabis lifestyle guide. Shout out to Johanna. That's hers. It's her trademark thing. But I probably will be one, you know, as I'm looking at life going, shit, I know quite a bit about this space. Like, I love what I'm doing. I love telling stories. I love, you know, running this company. But at the same time, it makes me feel good when I can help people solve a problem with, especially health wise, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things with the good ones. It's like finding a fucking needle in a haystack these days, you know?
And it's, I feel like at the same time, like if we try to tell a story about, like if you come to us as a group, right? You and I, as our production, whatever, and you go, I want to tell a story and it's THC based. Oh man, we got flair, dude. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And if it's CBD, it's like, well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to teach these people about CBD. You know, it's like CBD is like the straight cousin to cannabis. Right? It's like he can come over, but he can't. You know, so I think it's not too far. I mean, California just passed a law, I guess, to allow, or somebody did pass a law to allow CBD infused food. I mean, god damn, dude. Carl's Jr.'s had that 420 CBD burger. You know what I mean? And it's like, do you use CBD?
I do. I use I'll use this roll-on CBD before and after I go running.
Is it hemp-based or is it THC-based?
I think it's hemp-based.
Well, then it would have no THC in it at all.
Yeah, no. This is straight CBD.
Got it.
The company's called Elixicure, and it's pretty dope. Like I definitely like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. I think it's an interesting situation. I do use CBD as well. I both vape. Like I might vape a 10 to 1 during the day, all day, and it does help me, bro. I do feel better. It feels about the same as like an ibuprofen or whatnot. But at the same time, I don't ever really have any side effects from ibuprofen. But apparently, you know, they're not that good for you. But it's just strange. And then creams, like when I went surfing in Indo, I had hurt my back and I had this CBD. It was THC based, and man, was phenomenal. And so it's one thing. You smoke weed, you know, you get high, you feel it.
Yeah.
CBD, I feel like, I don't know. You're not totally sure if it worked.
Yeah.
But you think it did, but maybe the power of your mind said it. I'm curious to what your thoughts are on that, because people are going to start coming to you to tell stories about this. You need to start thinking about it. Just giving you a heads up.
Yeah, no, for sure. And dude, I am, you know me, I'm very open-minded, and it could be a mental thing. Like you want it to work, so it works. You know what I mean? Like as soon as I'm like, oh, this doesn't work anymore, then I'm going to be like, wait a minute, now it's not working. Right?
I talked to a guy. I was in an Uber in LA, and this guy was asking me questions again, cannabis lifestyle, guide questions. And he's like, look, I take Oxy every day for my anxiety. I take this much. I take it in the morning. I take it at night. Sometimes I forget about it, and I'm cool till when I remember, oh shit, I didn't take it. Then I was like, oh man, I'm fucked up. And, you know, and I just thinking like, man, our mind is such a powerful thing. We've got to be careful as storytellers that we don't, influence people inappropriately, or that we don't, you know, being that you're a cannabis user and you have the passion for it, and obviously it's integrated into your life, and you're cannabis out now, if you will, how does that impact your desire when you're working on a project? Do you just take it head on, and not really care what the creative flow pushes out? I mean, I know you care, but, or are you more towards like, you want to tell it straight and you want to get the right message across so that people can make good decisions? Or does that even play in?
Wait, hold on.
God damn it. It sucks when you're stoned. Listen, what I said was let's say the media pit, when you're doing a media pit, what's the goal for you there with that?
The media pit. Oh, okay. Like,
when we do media pits together. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, it's number one, it's you know, it's creating content, and you know, there is an educational aspect to it. There's also an entertainment aspect to it, you know, but what I've found in the cannabis industry is that we're kind of all doing it together. You know what I mean? Like in other industries that I've been in, it wasn't a together kind of thing. It was more like this competition, us against them. You know what I mean? And as someone who creates content and brings the camera and, knows how to create, high quality content, we're not only doing it for us, but we're doing it for everyone else too. You know what I mean? To give them a platform, to give them a chance to tell their story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of everything's working in sync almost. You know what I mean?
Well, so listen,
and
I totally agree with you. I feel like that's the reason it's an interesting time to be able to shape an industry. It's a crazy space, but to have your influence and to see so many people that, look, as humans, we're gonna fuck up, no doubt. So there's gonna be mistakes made. There's gonna be relationships that are torched, whatever. But at the end of the day, I do feel like most of the people, and oddly enough, it guides the bigger money as it comes in to having to hold a line to what the industry ethos is. There's still some busters out there that do stupid stuff, but for the most part, you're right. It does feel like we're all working. It doesn't feel like work. I want to transition with that because even though you're a stoner, I want you to take people through like Sean's day, bro. Like, what is Sean like? Sean's on a shoot. Sean's on a project. What is your day like? Don't have to go into too intimate details, please, but just what time does Sean get up? What time does Sean knock out? Like, how much afterlife? How much afterlife do we have to entertain? I remember being in Vegas with you working 10-hour days to have to then go out to dinner, with the client who didn't do shit all day. You know what I mean? Like we were doing, like they were working, but like we were killing ourselves, and then like try to have the muster to go out in the evening. Tell us a little bit about your grind.
I mean, dude, the grind as a entrepreneur like yourself, you know what I mean, and someone like starting with nothing and just trying to create things. It's, dude, I'm up. Yeah, I mean, even if I set my alarm for sometimes I set my alarm for 9. You know, I still wake up at 7. And I'll be like, okay, I got to use the restroom and check my email real quick. And then maybe take a run and then get to the office by 10 or 9:45 or something, But after that, I mean, I definitely try to get a smoke in, either on my way to work or here at work, and then just kind of jump into things. If we got to shoot, then we're up way earlier than that. Usually shoots start about 8 a.m. So our shoot dates are crazy. We just had a shoot, when was that? Last Thursday. We did a day 2 of a music video shoot, which went really well. But we had 2 locations. That shit went from fucking 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. with a 3-hour break in the middle. But still, that shit was bananas. And then I'm not going to bed till 1 or 2. You know what I'm saying? If I'm lucky, I can get to bed by 11:30. But that's just because after, you know what I mean? After the shoot, you got to come back. I've got multiple projects I'm working on, a couple client things, a couple personal things. You know what I'm saying?
No, the days aren't long enough for sure in this space, especially if you want to hustle.
Yeah.
It's like the first time ever in my life, and I don't know if it is. I want you to answer the question too. Is I feel like I can't catch up. I feel like I got 10 things to do before I even wake up in the morning.
Yeah. No, that's. I think some people like you and I, we kind of create this lifestyle for us because it gets us going. You know what I mean? We're the type that if we don't have a ton of stuff going on, we're like, oh shit, I don't feel right.
Yeah, that's true. I do like to juggle quite a few things.
Right. And at the end of the day, you're still pumping out great stuff, and I don't think, I would say 8 out of 10 people couldn't take this lifestyle. You know what I mean?
No, I've seen it just destroy people.
Oh yeah,
mentally, physically,
just
just
for sure.
They just spin out. Whoa, there he goes, or there she goes.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, question for you. I want to ask a question because it's on the top of my mind and I might forget.
Yeah.
Brands that are out there. More and more brands need to tell their story. Brands need to
for sure.
Connect with the brand. Connect the brand with the customer. I still feel like. the kings and queens of the space have not been crowned. I feel like there's battles for it, but I don't feel like anybody's going, that's my brand. I use that and that
Yep.
only because that's my jam right there. What
Yeah.
when a customer, we face this all the time, but what should a brand do? How much budget should a brand set aside to? Because you're super efficient, man. Like one of the things I know
Yeah.
working with you is you guys maximize a shoot. Like we get lots of
Yeah.
things done in a day. What should a brand be expecting to spend to have the caliber of content that'll help tell the story that will lift sales and market the brand? Like where do you guys like to start? Because people always want to go cheap.
Yeah. Oh, of course. People always want to go cheap. I mean, I would say to be comfortable, right? I mean, like most of these like brands out in this cannabis industry are making money. Like you guys are making money. And to be comfortable, I mean, budget like, and people might be like, oh my God, but like budget like $3K to like $10K per month.
Man, you're light. I was expecting you to say like 10 to 15.
But I mean, I'm just saying the brands are still going to be, oh my God. But, we can make some shit work for like $4K in 1 month. If you break that down, that's only $1,000 a week.
True,
you know what I'm saying? That's like, come on,
And I think you need to also, as a brand, reverse engineer what you want to have happen. And you guys you're really good at that. I've seen you tell some amazing stories and to maximize to brands out there when you're trying to come up with your direction for your video, or your digital marketing, focus on what you want the customer to walk away with and then maximize it. Use it on your social media, use it in a digital media platform, push it out on your website, be sharing that and be talking about it and be keeping it evergreen because the relationship nowadays is via video.
Yeah. Well, and there's better approaches. I think a lot of the brands who I've been talking with, like the last guy I just kind of like consulted like 2 weeks ago, and like he just put me in that position. But he's like, oh, I want to have my best customers give these testimonials, and I want to put that on the first thing on my website, and everybody's gonna love it. And I was like, bro, why are you pushing that in people's faces? You know what I mean? Like if you're that proud of it, let's do it right. You know what I mean? And
I think that's a great point.
It wouldn't be these testimonial videos. Like get a dope picture of this person and find a sick quote and then give it to somebody. You know what I'm saying? And this is the head of this company, and they said that I'm the best out there. Like, look how dope they look. Like, look how cool this is. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to put together this video, I think the video is really about the story, like you said. You know what I mean? And like we've done in the past is like build these like, story-rich content videos. And people, you're right. The brands, like a lot of these brands, people don't know their stories. People don't know what goes on there. They just see the name and they're like, oh, this is convenient,
I feel like sometimes even brands, even real successful brands, when they try to tell their story, they don't always know their story. Like, and I'm not throwing shade on anyone or even anybody's attempt. I think it takes a special person to understand, have the initiative to build a brand, get it out there, stay consistent, operate within the parameters that you have to operate in, which aren't easy in this space, to then be able to tell your story, is often sometimes the fourth or fifth things some of these brands talk about. And then there's brands that lead with that before they even come out. And I swear the connection to the actual customer is just so much better. I am gonna throw, and it's whatever. Candescent, I feel like they started out the gate like, this is who we're gonna be, this is how we're gonna do it, this is who we're gonna market to, this is how we're gonna back it up, this is how we're gonna create other brands around it. And love them or hate them, you can judge them however you want. They're kind of doing their thing, and I understand who they are.
Who is that? Sorry, I missed it.
No worries. Candescent.
Oh, Candescent, dude. Candescent, I got dude's card right here. I just emailed someone from Candescent.
We're not this is not a personal call. We're on a show. I was just saying that that's an example of a brand if people wanted to know. And I'm not going to tell you what brands are examples of that are doing it the wrong way, because maybe it's not the wrong way for them. But I think if you're going to do digital media, if you're going to do video and work with Sean and his group, I think allow yourself to storyboard stuff and then take your hands off the wheel and let the experts do
Yeah.
their job.
I will say this for sure on that. But Raw, I feel like Raw is the one company that always stands out to me, and I forget the owner or the dude who's on there, his name, but they're being consistent with their content and they're educating stuff, but it's they could do a little better. They could do a little better, but I think their consistency and kind of the feel and the look of it, they kind of got that locked in, and I really like the way they're doing it. But they can just get a little better with like the education. Okay, that's it.
I think people in digital marketing need to understand that it's kind of like a Nerf gun. Like you're shooting people with Nerf darts that kind of just bounce off of them, and then occasionally one hits them in the eye, and they go, "What was that?" So you do have to be consistent, and you do have to realize that enough is never enough, and you do have to realize that growing organically, if you will, or word of mouth or whatever. I do feel like it's a concerted effort for brands. I do feel that if a brand wants to make it in the space, they got to have good ambassadors doing ambassador days. They got to have top quality product at the right price, and they got to be willing to support the dispensary. And they also got to understand their niche. You're not going to sell to everybody all the time, and there's so many categories, in the space. Hey, I wanted to pivot off work a little bit and talk about what makes you what makes you passionate. Talk to me a little bit about Shonye and his sneaker collection.
No, Shonye is my entertainer name. I've been kind of rocking with that name for a while now. I got this active shoe vlog that I'm doing. That kind of started off.
Where can people, while they're listening, because people are immediate nowadays, what is this? How do they find the shoe vlog?
The shoe vlog is #shoe vlog yay, and that's YE at the end. So shoe vlog yay.
Where would they search those hashtags?
And on IG, on Instagram. That's the only way you can find me on IG.
Gotcha.
Shoe vlog yay, and I've got I think I'm on my 7th episode. I'm working on 8 right now. I'm trying to make it to 10. That was kind of the deal I made with myself, is do 10 of these shoe vlogs. I also just started doing some ASMR videos. I'm on my 3rd ASMR video, if you guys know about that.
What does that mean, ASMR?
I always forget. I forget the whole thing. It's like automated system response something. But when you get those like chills and you get kind of that rush down the back of your neck and your back, and when you hear like nails on a chalkboard or the silverware. So that is actually known to be called ASMR, because it's sparking a certain thing inside your body. And so what people have done now is created videos that sparks ASMR within you when you hear it, and they're these eating videos. And so I do some funny eating videos.
Ooh, some people have what's that phobia called when they don't want to watch people eat or listen to people eat? There's a phobia for that. We got a phobia for anything. I bet you if we Google pin clicking, I bet you there's a phobia for pin clickers. But
that click.
Yeah, there's people that have phobia around food. Tell us, like, doing a vlog, first of all, is not easy. It's a lot of work, and I know how you are. You're probably doing it all yourself. Do you have anybody else doing production with? Yeah, so you're doing it all yourself.
Nah.
What is it all about? Talk to us about that sneaker side of you, or what motivates you to kind of do that on your spare time.
Entertainment. I think it's really entertainment. And I mean, I've loved shoes since I was in high school. I mean, my mom can attest to this. Since I was a little kid, my parents would never buy me shoes, and so I had to make a deal with my mom. And when I got my first couple of pairs of Jordans, I had to split those with her. I had to split them 50-50. And then once I got enough money, because my dad made me work 2 jobs since I was like 11, once I had enough money, I could just buy my own shoes. But I just love, honestly, I love seeing people smile and seeing people laugh. And, unlike a lot of people, like the comments that people leave on these shoe vlogs are just really funny. And this last one that I did, I actually got to incorporate my little godson and his little brother. And like people just went bananas for it. They love these kids. So I'm gonna have to bring the kids back. And now I'm thinking about maybe doing like a surprising my dad on Father's Day with like some dad shoes, and we could do a quick shoe vlog with my dad.
So you can travel with your vlogging equipment?
Yeah. I've done it all over. Like I used to just do it here in the office. And then I did it at my buddy's house one time, and then the last time I did it at my other buddy's house because his kids were there. I mean, you just bring a camera, man. I just work with what I got. So I bring a camera and a little mic and make sure we got a quiet little corner. And, most of the shoes, I'm going to be honest, most of those shoes I just flip and sell. I don't keep a lot of them just because I'm more about wearing the shoes I got. And, these days, man, these kids pay a lot of money for these stupid shoes, D. I tell you, man. I'm definitely making money.
How do you find these shoes? Do you go to Ross when they're when they're offloading? I'm not kidding, dude. I have friends that make like $200,000. I'm guessing they're making a lot of money just buying shit and then flipping it on Amazon. Like unbelievable. Dude. I made $4,000 today. I'm all, what? Why am I doing this?
There's a dude in Minnesota that was asking me to hit up like Fairfield or Vacaville, whichever one the Nike thing is, and San Leandro. He's like, oh, if you find low ones, ship them to me and all this shit. Like me though, now, man, I got Asian best friends, bro. We got bots. Like we got bots for days. So if we want some shoes, we just go ham on the bots. And I mean, majority it's like probably like 7 out of 10 times we get them. Wow. But you can't. I'm trying to tell you, Danny. Dude,
have you ever been to those shoe? What's that shoe? There's a shoe store, Nice Kicks. Have you ever been to that place?
Oh yeah, I won a pair of shoes on a raffle at Nice Kicks. It's on my vlog, bro. Do you watch my vlog? I shout out Nice Kicks. I shout out Undefeated. I got some. Yeah, shut up. But
I went to one in Texas, and I got me some. I think they're like $300 Vans. I can't remember now because they sit in a box. I've worn them. Like you see my Pumas?
Hell yeah!
I have some Pumas.
Yeah, those Pumas are sick. Those
flare
ice
out
creams.
Every now and then.
I see you.
I just gotta have you start buying my sneakers for me so I could stay fly, so fly.
My boy charges like $30 on top of retail. So, but if there's something out there you want, bro, we could probably get it.
It's crazy though. You're right, man. The sneaker industry, especially, I don't want to call it the black market industry because it's not really black market, but let's just say side market space is crazy. And the brands don't really, it's kind of like mixtapes for shoes. It's like the artists that make the songs, as long as the person doing the mixtapes isn't making too much money, then they're cool. Yeah. Same thing with these shoe dudes. Like if they will, I mean, everyone thinks, oh, I'm going to go buy the latest Nike that's released and resell it. That's not what people are doing. They're finding like models that are just floating out there that have been like kept like good old cars. Is there a lot of people in that space that smoke weed or no?
Honestly, it's all digital. I'm just doing it with my boy. My boy don't smoke weed.
There's no Sneakerhead conventions you go to?
Oh, there is. But that's not like, for me, it just happens all, like we buy stuff and then.
So it's really not that exciting. We shouldn't be talking about it then.
Yeah, this is not. Yeah, this is like
the vlog is what we want to stay focused on. So
the vlog. Yeah.
Go back to being creative is what drives you with cannabis.
Well,
what makes you happy?
Being creative, entertaining people. I mean, I really like seeing people when I haven't seen someone in a while. And maybe I see them out randomly and they're just like, dude, that shit made me laugh. You know what I mean? Or they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you had those shoes. Like people be hitting me up on the DMs like, bruh, you need to stop fucking bringing those fakes. And I'm like, you think I got fakes? Like what?
That's funny. And you are, dude, like out of all the people I hang out with, when we get a chance to go do stuff, we have like the funnest time ever, I think, when we're out and about. This is where we have to say we're coming to the end. You've shared with us the most intimate parts of yourself. What I want to do now is you have a moment to do some shout outs and you have a moment to tell people where they can find you on social media starting now.
All right, y'all. So shout outs go like this. We'll start with the one and only Northbound Films. Those are my folks. That's my heart right there. Shout out Daniel Montero, Ganjier Smoke Break. Shout out all the folks over at Original Equity Group in San Francisco, Nina Parks, Yeah, man. I mean,
What
shout
about
out
social?
Item 9.
Social. Yeah, Item 9.
Y'all
Shout
wanna
out
hear
Item
some-
9 real quick.
Shout out Item 9. That's the Northbound Cannabis channel. If anybody wants to do stuff in the cannabis space, that's who we're gonna be rocking with is Item 9. And they're at Item 9 TV. And then for me, you can find me on IG. It's _ SHONYE_. I know it's weird. I'm trying to get the Shonye handle right now, but IG's giving me
I'll make sure I put it in the blog for people to go to. We'll drive some traffic to you, buddy.
Dude, that's what's up. And yeah, I want to say thank you, Danny. Like, this is awesome, man. Hopefully, I warmed up a little bit. I don't know. I know I was kind of dry.
Oh, we're going to work on some drops after this.
Nice. All right, sweet.
All right, bro. Thank you.
Peace.
That's a wrap. Thank you for listening to this edition of Cannabis Karaoke, another kick-ass podcast about all things cannabis. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and our website, cannabiskaraoke.tv. And if you or someone you know would like to be on the show, please hit the book your interview button on the right. Cannabis Karaoke. Grab the mic and tell your story.
Wow!